I told you I don't need...
যখন আমার টাকা ছিল তখন আপনার মেয়েকে আমার কাছে বিয়ে দিয়েছে। যখন আমি
president who can make threats to an FBI director and clear the decks. Perhaps, Trump.
Where'd he go?
And you have to stream app. Fund for hurricane relief.
We had a storm in Avery County. Our bridge,
The motion carries. Having passed by the requisite 3/5 vote, the House has overridden the governor's veto, and the bill becomes law, notwithstanding the governor's objections. The Senate's notified by a special message, and those who can't control themselves can leave out of either of those doors.
Despite clear objections, the North Carolina House voted today to pass a bill that would take power away from the incoming Democratic administration, including officials like the state's governor and attorney general. Joining me now is Anderson Clayton, who is the chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party. Anderson, thank you for joining me. First, what is your reaction to what happened today in your state?
Republicans once again used their powers in the legislature to strip powers away from the voters of North Carolina. It's nothing that we haven't seen this party do time and time again in the state, and we're prepared to fight them at every level possible through litigation efforts afterwards, but also through maintaining the voter education that we need to continuously help people understand that what's happening right now in our state legislature and also our judicial branch in North Carolina is political corruption from the Republican Party in our state.
You mentioned legal avenues. Can you elaborate on that? What recourse do you think you have through the courts?
We're exploring every option that we have right now as a party, and we fully anticipate, Friday last week, we were able to file in federal court to protect over 60,000 voters that Republicans and North Carolina GOP are trying to disenfranchise right now in our Supreme Court race. And the North Carolina Democratic Party will continue to use every avenue possible to fight for the vote.
Can you elaborate? Just for people who don't understand practically what this means in terms of the functioning of the state and the governor and the attorney general and on down the line.
Senate Bill 382 to communities, specifically small business owners who don't need grants right now. They need assistance fully from the federal government and from our state government in getting back to where they were pre-Hurricane Helene coming through and destroying communities across West Point right now. The power of the Attorney General is to, in any case scenario, if there is a bill or if there is legislation that they find to be against the Constitution of our state, the ability for them to sue based on that precedent is there, and it strips that power away from the Attorney General. It essentially becomes a lame-duck position in our Council of State right now, and Republicans know that, and they did that because of the incoming congressman that they gerrymandered out of his seat in the federal legislator right now, Jeff Jackson, who's coming in as our next Attorney General, but also just looking at the other positions on the Council of State that Republicans have disenfranchised. It also looks at our superintendent losing power from the office that we just elected Mo Green to, and also consolidates judicial offices across the state as well.
It is just a stunning authoritarian-style power grab. Anderson Clayton with the North Carolina Democratic Party. Thanks so much for your time tonight. We will be following this story. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you.
That is our show for tonight. Now it is time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Good evening, Lawrence.
Good evening, Alex. We have a Senate quorum here tonight. We have Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Senator Jon Ossoff, new Senator from New Jersey, Andy Kim, and future Senator Maxwell Frost, who sometime in the next 50 years is going to be elected to the Senate.
Is it the Tip O'Neill thing? How do you get all of these senators that everybody wants? What is it? Do you send them chocolates?
The trick is going to the studio, within walking distance of the Senate here
Yeah.
in Washington, D.C.
That's where you are.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why you're in it. So you look even better than usual. Okay. Now I
That's
know.
Yep,
Have
that's
a
how we do
great
it.
show. Have a great show.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. If Kashyap Pramod Vinod Patel is confirmed by the Senate as the next FBI director, he will be the first Indian American FBI director. He will be the first FBI director with a beard. But he will have two things in common with every FBI director before him. He is a man and he is a Republican. Every single director of the FBI has been a Republican, every one of them. J. Edgar Hoover created the FBI and corrupted the FBI in his 36-year reign as FBI director. Hoover's FBI did some good work, but J. Edgar Hoover himself engaged in some of the worst things ever done by an American law enforcement agency. He loved using illegal wiretaps, especially against the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who he put under illegal surveillance for just no reason whatsoever, no legal reason whatsoever, wiretapped his phone calls, and tried to harass Dr. King into committing suicide. Presidents feared what J. Edgar Hoover might try to do to them or their allies. J. Edgar Hoover's legacy is a stain on American law enforcement, but still, his name adorns the FBI headquarters building in Washington, D.C. L. Patrick Gray, who served as acting FBI director, served for 1 year of Richard Nixon's criminal activity as president, got ensnared in that criminal activity himself and left the office of FBI director as acting FBI director in disgrace before Richard Nixon was forced to leave the presidency in disgrace. After the Nixon criminal scandals that involved the FBI, Congress took action to depoliticize the job of FBI director by giving the FBI director a 10-year term. That meant that some presidents might not ever get to appoint an FBI director, and some didn't. It was inconceivable in the aftermath of the Nixon scandals that a president would fire an FBI director for the offense of investigating that president, which is exactly what Donald Trump did when he fired James Comey as FBI director in 2017, thereby becoming the first president in history to fire an FBI director in the middle of a 10-year term. President Jimmy Carter was the first president to appoint an FBI director to a 10-year term, and of course, he chose a Republican, William Webster. And I say of course, because in those days, the way for a president to prove that a job was above politics was to give that job to someone from the other party. And so no one was surprised by Jimmy Carter's choice of Republican William Webster. But when it came time for Republican presidents to appoint FBI directors, they too chose Republican FBI directors. Bill Clinton was the next Democratic president after Jimmy Carter to appoint an FBI director, and he chose Republican Louis Freeh. Next, George W. Bush chose Robert Mueller, Republican Robert Mueller, to serve a full 10-year term. And then President Obama asked Republican Robert Mueller to extend his service in the FBI beyond the 10 years, which actually required an act of Congress to allow Robert Mueller to serve beyond the 10-year limit. Robert Mueller served 12 years as FBI director, and then President Obama chose to replace him with Republican James Comey to serve as FBI director. And James Comey served 3 years, 247 days before Donald Trump fired him and replaced him with Republican Christopher Wray. President Biden never considered tampering with Chris Wray's 10-year term as FBI director, which was scheduled to end in August of 2027. During this transition period, Donald Trump decided to do something that no president has ever considered doing, which was select someone as the next FBI director and send that person around to Senate offices to meet with senators to discuss being confirmed for a job that was not vacant or available. The president has the legal right to fire an FBI director, for cause. That cause has to be put in writing. The cause that Donald Trump actually used as his reason for firing FBI Director Comey was the way James Comey handled an investigation of Hillary Clinton. The world knew that that was a lie. The world knew Donald Trump loved the way James Comey investigated Hillary Clinton and made huge news about that investigation in the weeks and days leading up to the 2016 presidential election. Today, FBI Director Christopher Wray, who was appointed by Donald Trump 7.5 years ago, announced in a worldwide meeting with FBI agents that he would make it easy for Donald Trump. Christopher Wray decided to save Donald Trump from having to put another lie in writing about why he was firing another FBI director. The FBI released a full transcript of what Christopher Wray said, and the FBI released just a partial video of some of what the director said. Director Wray told the FBI today, quote, "I want to address a topic that's been the subject of a lot of speculation, and that's my future as FBI director. Since the moment I started in this job 7+ years ago, my focus has been on trying to do what I think is best for our institution, for the Bureau, and ultimately for the American people we serve, and what sets us up best for success, not just today, but in the long run." And then Director Wray said this.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January, and then step down. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day. And in my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important in how we do our work. Now, it should go without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI.
Christopher Wray also told his FBI audience, quote, "It was important to me that you all got to hear about my decision directly from me before it gets announced publicly." Director Wray praised the 38,000 people working at the FBI around the world and specified some of the horrors that FBI intelligence work has prevented. Quote, "Every day I've been in this role, my deep admiration and respect for all of you has grown more and more. I've seen up close the sacrifices you make each and every."
From Celebrate. If you're 60 or older,
Next, George. It's just a partial video of some of what the director said. Director Wray told the FBI today, quote, "I want to address a topic that's been the subject of a lot of speculation, and that's my future as FBI director. Since the moment I started in this job 7+ years ago, my focus has been on trying to do what I think is best for our institution, for the Bureau, and ultimately for the American people we serve, and what sets us up best for success, not just today, but in the long run." And then Director Wray said this.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January, and then step down. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day. And in my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important in how we do our work. Now, it should go without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI.
Christopher Wray also told his FBI audience, quote, "It was important to me that you all got to hear about my decision directly from me before it gets announced publicly." Director Wray praised the 38,000 people working at the FBI around the world and specified some of the horrors that FBI intelligence work has prevented. Quote, "Every day I've been in this role, my deep admiration and respect for all of you has grown more and more. I've seen up close the sacrifices you make each and every day to fulfill our mission and keep our fellow citizens safe. I've seen you turn in absolutely heroic acts of bravery over and over again to help people you've never met. And I've seen you show up for each other with compassion and support when your FBI family members need you most. And you've kept watch against the ever-present threat of terrorism, thwarting attacks on a busy pier in San Francisco, a crowded hospital outside Kansas City during COVID, a 4th of July parade in downtown Cleveland, to name just a few, and just 2 months ago disrupting a mass casualty plot in Oklahoma City set for Election Day. Donald Trump's choice to lead the FBI wants to eliminate the intelligence division of the FBI.
Round one. Here we go. Hey, Joe. Well, round one. Here we go. Hey, Joe.